podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. Thank you for joining us. Hour number 2 as we go up to 6 o'clock. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Brendan Riker behind the glass taking care of us. We are live from the First United Bank studio. You can hear Rangers and Angels tonight, 8 o'clock. Double T 97.3. The Red Hot Texas Rangers have won 6 in a row. They'll look to make it 7 in a row tonight here on your home for the Texas Rangers. The Astros, a little bit different boat. They'll try to bounce back after being swept in a 4-game series by the artist formerly known as Oakland, now the Homeless Athletics. They will start a series at home against the Nationals, 640, 100.7 the score. Gus, today was an interesting day in Big 12 land because we knew one head coach had announced a meeting with the media with his medical team, and that's not good. And there was a speculation just flying around for one Deion Sanders in Colorado that, Deion Sanders could be stepping down. It had been noted like all spring that never, and they don't have to, right? It's nothing that says they have to. And I hope no one was angry like we have to know what's going on in Deion's life. But there was, they let it known that he was not in good health and was going through some stuff, and of course had the foot issue. And so I think a lot of people, maybe it's that, maybe it's something else. And turns out that he had to have his bladder removed because of cancer. But the good news is that there's no traces of cancer now after that surgery. But man, there were some wild things being thrown around on Twitter for a lot that had no idea what it was about.
Yeah, that was scary.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I wouldn't even say social did blow up when that was announced at a press conference today, I think, with the physicians that were involved, the urologist but yeah, because articles were written about it as well. I'm saying the social was sort of, it wasn't just a couple of writers tweeting about it, a couple of Colorado beat writers, but
right?
Rather like
national,
articles were written about it, and yeah, big stuff. But yeah, he's just the health stuff with him, the foot thing and that sort of thing, and then coming back with this. I mean, he's my age. That stuff's scary.
Dropped 25 pounds over that.
I mean, I wouldn't, not that he like me isn't carrying a few extra pounds, but at our age, but still, you don't look at him and go, yeah, you had it to lose, right? Yeah, the whole deal's scary and that's serious stuff, and glad he got a good report out of it. But I mean, it feels like it. I just think about it. I'm like, man, he's so, the limping around and then this. And all you think, mercy, he's 57, 58 years old, and he has the body of a, way older than that. But
he's gone through some
like serious.
One of the
stuff.
physical wars would be enough, for I think for a lot to just say, and you're in such a high stakes, stressful job. If you're doing it right, if you're engaged, it is a high stakes, stressful job for college football. And I know he's been around football for his whole life now. He's been at the highest level.
Yeah, playing it, talking about it, coaching it.
Now he's coaching at a high level. And so, like, if I'll say this, because I was with a lot of people that thought as soon as Shedeur was done and then put Travis Hunter with that he would be done. And now it's like the complete opposite, right? I mean, pushing through, like I said, what a lot of people would just go, okay, I don't really need this. And it's not like he's financially ruined or anything or in a bad spot. You would think he would be able to step away anytime that he would want and be okay. And so now it goes, okay, well, are you in for a decade of Deion over at Colorado, or what is, hopefully, no more health issues or anything like that. But it's crazy the turnaround of perception from he's going to be done and move on to bigger places, to now like fighting through serious health issues to stay and coach at Colorado. And so this whole timeline of how things have worked out is crazy. The best part, obviously, is the successful surgery and change of lifestyle and all of that with what's coming with the health side of it. But still, it is wild.
It's a tough deal
to go from, okay, but how long is he going to be there, to, toughing out serious stuff to stay there.
Well, and then the second side of that is, the closet industry has been talking about where he's going next. Mm-hmm. And now, I shouldn't say now, but if we're doing the coaching carousel here in December or January, aren't there questions about that? Like, man, it's a no-brainer. He should be coaching the Dallas Cowboys. Should he? I mean, this because of the health stuff, and because there's no doubt
that was being thrown around this year. I didn't even think about that. Yes. Like, that's crazy.
Well, and again, the good news here is that serious business, and it appears to be resolved, and that's good stuff.
Now you look at just you can focus in on the football side, and I think for a very different reason. I think Colorado is one of the more interesting teams in the Big 12. They have a transfer from Liberty in Caden Salter. They also had the top quarterback switch his recruit and go over to Colorado, and Julian Lewis, who's a 5-star recruit, obviously, if you're going to be the top quarterback in the class. But they go from a team that certainly took a step forward last year and, tied for the best conference record at 7-2. Obviously, was not in the Big 12 title game. We got a front row seat to a frustrating game against Colorado. But what are they this year? Because they're replacing a lot, but they have some talent. But I also think that they have a bunch of questions when you look up and down the roster. But the talent that is there, like when you say high-end talent, is about as good as it gets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and there's an inexperience that goes with this situation this year. I mean, they're a lot younger. They were veteran and high-end talent, obviously a Heisman Trophy and an NFL draft pick quarterback. They don't have that, but they still would, I imagine, be decent.
More Tech Talk next. Brendan will give us a play of the day here in Double T 97.3.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
We're not going to take it. We are going till 6 o'clock tonight, though, on Double T 97.3. It's Tech Talk. Thank you for joining us, Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Brennan Riker behind the glass, taking care of us. If you missed it, and we'll go over this again in Juice round 2, so it's like a preview of the headline we've already given. 24 Red Raiders named to the Shrine Bowl 1000 watch list, the most in college football. I won't go over all 24 because we could just fill the rest of the segment up.
Well, and what is the Shrine Bowl? It's one of the All-Star games, right? It's one of the, I'm going to say All-Star games, but it's one of the places where they go, like the Senior Bowl, where they go and show out. Right, work out for a week with scouts and coaches and everybody there.
For what it's worth, you might think, oh, it's only guys that have 1 year of eligibility, right? Like it's only the David Bailey types, and you do have quite a few of those, and that's not a bad thing by any means.
Right, with expiring.
But then you look and you have like Coy Aiken on that list. You have Quentin Joyner on that list, which, by the way, we talked about this when it originally happened, and I guess PFF is just recycling. They haven't changed their opinion, but they're recycling stuff. They re-put out over the weekend the top 5 draft eligible running backs for next year's draft, and they have not moved Quentin Joyner from the top 5, if anybody's wondering.
And so what they're doing is giving us a list of 1,000 of the draft possibilities, meaning these are guys who could declare Yeah, and then so when you contextualize that, those are 24 dudes with draft ratings, with NFL draft ratings. And, yeah, again, not something we've had around here before. Not that level. That's not to say all 24 of them will get drafted because, as you said, you might have Clay Aiken hang around another year.
Right.
Or others.
You know what 5 of them, make sure I have my my count right, and I'm just doing this right now. Yeah, you know what 5 of them have in common?
Or homegrown.
This is probably something an answer
Homegrown.
that you could find a statistic with it. They are offensive linemen.
Oh, really?
That sounds nice, huh?
Really? 5 of them?
I was because what stood out to me, I didn't realize Sheridan Wilson was on this list, and then it started connecting. Like, oh,
yeah, for us to get the 5, it probably would have to be Sheridan Wilson, but
because
he's
you
a
have
third year player.
Sheridan Wilson, Hunter Zambrano, Howard Sampson, Will Jados, and Davian Carter, all on this list.
Well.
And that might not even necessarily be the starting 5, but it's 5 vying for the starting 5.
Well, and I think there's excited about Ponton as anybody, but he's just a second-year guy. So, again, somebody like that wouldn't be on this list, right?
Right. And you like you said, you have some like that, but then you have, like, we don't even know if Will Jados is going to be the starting left guard.
True.
He's in a battle for it, but, like, no Vinny Scurry on this list, a guy that they're really excited, and was started 2 games last year and gets hurt in the Washington State game. I think the offensive line might have some of the most interesting position battles, and really there's not a whole lot of true position battles going on. There's some like depth chart battles certainly, but it seems like you have just about everything set offensively and defensively.
In the top 44, you mean, like in the 2 deep?
Yeah, just like
sure.
I can't imagine much movement will happen from the original depth chart that we got. And outside of the offensive line, that's really the only, like, whenever you get to the real depth chart, whenever you're facing Arkansas Pine Bluff to kick off the season, I think that's the only place you'll get the classic slashes, and it seems like that's only going to be with left guard, right tackle.
Agree.
Because I can't imagine it would be anything changing between Howard Sampson at left tackle, Sheridan Wilson at center, and Davian Carter at right guard. And I don't think that the position battles are necessarily a bad thing. Now, it might be when you get to right tackle, probably, the Zambrano kind of going like wink, wink, this is a battle with him.
Sure.
But left guard is extremely interesting with Jados and Scurry. Again, 2 older guys. And I think it seems maybe, Jados has a little more power from what it seems like, but Scurry might be a little more well-rounded and a little more polished. So either way, I don't think there's a bad way of like, oh, that guy won the job? Oh, all right.
Yeah, we got a problem.
Yeah.
Sure. I think I'm excited about that. And it's not, if in fact this is all as high-end talent as we think it is and what we're hearing it is, not just us drinking Kool-Aid here, and we are drinking Kool-Aid. This is if you get a guy who takes a couple of days off in practice and is sloppy, hey, get out there, go sit him down. And whereas in other years where you don't have depth, you have the one player that's just a standout, and that player, could be a 9 or a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, and he operates at a 7 because he knows the next closest guy's a 5. Like there's nothing pushing him, and it sounds like we can push in a lot of different ways.
By the way, and hopefully you're literally pushing in a bunch of different ways
Absolutely.
on the field. Sheridan Wilson might have, I assume he's still keeping the look, might have the best facial hair on the team. I mean, he has handlebar mustache and looks like he could be like the muscle of a motorcycle gang. Like, you don't mess with Sheridan. Like they call him a silly name like Sherry or something like that.
Right.
And it's like calling the big guy Smalls or something like that. And he like steps off the bike and is this massive guy. Like, oh, that's the guy I have to fight? Never mind. I didn't mean it. I take back everything I said. I'm sorry I pushed over all your bikes.
Clint was playing tag with the motorcycle bikes.
I thought I could jump them all. I thought from my tag experience, if I had a running start, I could clear them all. And I just knocked them all over like dominoes.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Happy Monday. Hopefully it hasn't been too Monday-esque for you. If you just got off work, you did it. You made it through it. And thank you for joining us, making us a part of your Monday. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Brennan Riker behind the glass taking care of us. We are live for one more hour here in the First United Bank studio. A reminder, we will have live coverage of Texas Tech Media Days tomorrow. We'll be out there from 9 to 3, live shows, 100.7 The Score. We'll also bring you Coach McGuire's opening press conference and all that. We'll also have some side interviews and short clips and long clips, all the clips, doubleTSportsNetwork.com and YouTube throughout the day, and also our Twitter. So make sure if you are not following us on any of those to start. Yeah, that way you can see all the fun stuff too.
Yeah, that's a big day tomorrow. That'll get your juices flowing if you're...
Mm-hmm. It's another box. We talk about the boxes to check. That's a big one.
Sir. I like it. That's better than that little clip you play every once in a while. But I like the other one. It's good for baseball season.
Mm-hmm. Brendan's getting to play it a lot lately. By the way, our coverage out there is presented by Accurate Air. We appreciate them taking care of us and helping us out. We had Gus, the 2025 Baseball Hall of Fame induction. CC Sabathia, Ichiro Suzuki, Billy Wagner. What did you think of the old Cooperstown show?
Yeah, it was good. I think I saw that they had 52 past inductees there, which I always think that introduction is so cool. I can remember that as, I don't say a kid, but certainly you guys' age, and it was old dudes, Bob Feller and those guys. It's amazing how time passes, and I'm thinking, wait, the old guys are the ones that are guys I grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing old in air quotes, but they are old. But it's also cool to see Sandy Koufax there. Mm-hmm. And there was a cool picture of Sandy Koufax, CC Sabathia, and Randy Johnson there. CC's a big man.
Yes, he is. And
Koufax looks like a little soft-throwing, dainty, crafty left-hander, and he was anything but that. And then the CC's in the middle of them, and there's 6'10", the big unit over there with him. Yeah, I thought the thing went good. There was Ichiro, CC, Billy Wagner, and then Dave Parker and Dick Allen, the last of those two deceased. But there were still good moments in their speeches. Ichiro, in some ways, was a highlight, but he was also one of the more recent of the players, was the most recent to have played. But when you think about Ichiro, he got to the U.S. at age 27 and had 3,000 hits here.
Yeah.
You put his Japanese career in there, and his professional baseball thing is he had more base hits than Pete Rose.
And he's on one of those lists that's very, not just for baseball, but thin across sports that I would say universally liked. I'm sure when he was beating your team or whatever, you might go, that Ichiro Suzuki. But for the most part, it's like him and Ken Griffey Jr. are who I think of.
You know, and he was obviously not born here, and somewhere early in the first handful of years in the big leagues, he took a day to go see Cooperstown because he grew up in Japan, headed down that path before he came over here. And then he later made Cooperstown, I don't say an annual visit, but he's been there several times to take in all the history. And so it's interesting. I can't remember if it was, I can't remember who I heard say this. I'm going to attribute some things probably to Kirkjian that maybe he didn't say, but you get the idea. It was one of the national guys.
Yeah.
It was talking about, over the years, there's been the sort of the unofficial ringleaders of the Hall of Famers, and now they say it's kind of Johnny Bench, like kind of welcome to the club guy, that in some ways it might be Ichiro, which is really interesting, because not an American guy, but how much reverence he has for the thing, and they talk about how he could be the guy years down the road, but he missed going into the Hall of Fame unanimously by 1 vote, and this was what was interesting, because I thought we were going to get a very serious, business-like, and he had some of the hilarious moments of the thing. But anyway, he when he talked about the one voter who left him, I don't know if he named that voter, but he said the offer to have that rider, the offer for that rider to have dinner at my home has now expired, which got big laughs.
I liked his into the Miami Marlins. It's like, honestly, when you guys called to offer me a contract for 2015, I had never heard of your team. That was really funny.
Yeah, he talked about coming over here to the U.S. and it was like, hey, don't embarrass the nation. Like he'd had somebody tell him that's that's big stuff, and just complimentary of his fan, just the league, and how in awe of everyone he was when he first got here, and what an honor it is. He's a really interesting story there. CC Sabathia, the theme of his speech, very complimentary of the women in his life, which was really neat. Mom, wife, etc. Talked about being one of the black aces, which is one of the 15 black pitchers who's won 20 games in a season. Mm-hmm. He's very proud of that and doesn't want to be the last. And he's very active with the Players Alliance and the Commissioner's Office and some diversity initiatives. And so you see him showing up at things like, you and I talked the other day about the game in Rickwood last year. Mm-hmm. That stuff's very important to him, and it's a serious part of his legacy. Dave Parker was interesting. Of course, he's deceased, but his son represented him, and Dave Parker had written a poem prior to his death. As he was going downhill, and Parker obviously had charisma when you see this, but he had some funny stuff. I'm in the hall now. You can't take that away. The statue better look nice, and I've got a pretty face. was one of the lines in there. But it was really poignant and good. And Billy Wagner, I will say this: he's our Houston Astro. Went in as an Astro and closer. Pitched at a tiny D3 school. So I think I've told you this. He is a college baseball Hall of Famer, mm-hmm. and out in rural Virginia, great dude, like legit. One of the nicest guys that we dealt with in the College Baseball Hall of Fame, and he didn't have to be, because he could have been a big leaguer if he wanted to. And, kind of like, yeah, whatever. Fantastic dude to deal with. The other one, the late Dick Allen, fantastic career, 1964 Rookie of the Year, 1972 MVP. His 1972 season goes down as one of the best 20 seasons ever. So, cool stuff for those dudes.
Yeah. More Tech Talk next on Double T 97.3.
Podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Brendan Riker, thank you for making this part of your Monday afternoon. I promised you a Big 12 coaching list from CBS. We shall deliver a Big 12 coaching list. Who do you think is at the top?
This is the
coming into the season.
So this isn't a hot seat list.
No.
This is who's the best guy.
They rank 1 through 16, and there's a little bit of a mix of they're going off of proven track record to also some of these guys who, which should be a hint for one coach, have shot up the rankings. If you win up a Big 12 championship, but they're taking all of that together for your rankings. Who do you think was the top of their list?
Yeah, I was say that's what makes Dillingham's situation tough, because it's like, okay, 2 years, not bad.
Incredible turnaround. Right. Still very young. Still, as even though you win a Big 12 championship and you have a good showing in the playoff, you are in the playoff. Golly, still think maybe some skins on the wall, at least for the top spot. So,
if you told me there was a college football Hall of Fame coach in this league, I guess I should probably check this, since we know there's a numeric barometer that needs to be given to what he has done and where he's done it. It's some combination of the two old guys in this league, Utah and Oklahoma State.
Kyle Whittingham is number 2.
Okay.
The other one is not in the top 5.
Well, that's where I was going to go with this next. Is like Gundy's not really embracing the 2025. He's been that.
He just said the other day. This is what. Okay, I'll save it. I'll save it because I have a thought on this for people that were upset where he was at today.
Sure, he's been the older coach. It's kind of gone. I don't know this where we are at this point in time. And when you start when you hear those words uttered by a coach, you start going, that's not a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it needs to be embraced with like full blast levels of excitement and not skepticism about the nature of things. Oh man, okay. I'll go Chris Kleiman.
Matt Campbell.
That's solid.
I don't disagree because he's in one of the hardest places to win, not just in the Big 12, but on the Power 4 level. There's something to be said, there's a season where they come in with big-time expectations and underperform that final year with like Purdy and company.
Yep.
But still, overall, I mean, they do not have the same backing, the same resources, and I'm honestly surprised he's still there. But I don't disagree with him being number 1. Kyle Whittingham is number 2. Chris Kleiman is number 3. Lance Leipold, number 4.
Okay.
And then number 5 is where you get Kenny Dillingham.
Okay.
Number 6, Kalani Sitake. Number 7, Deion Sanders. 8 is where you find Mike Gundy. Sonny Dykes at number 9. Dave Aranda comes in at 10th. 11th, you get Willie Fritz. 12 is where you get Rich Rodriguez. And then all the way at number 13 is where you find Texas Tech's Joey McGuire. 14, Scott Satterfield. 15, Scott Frost. And 16, Brent Brennan.
Yeah, I wonder what his let's just play out a scenario that has us winning the Big 12, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What is the perception of the coaching job he does if everybody, they have 24 NFL draft grade players and they spent all this money in the portal they should have won? Like, what's his...
Do you want the description?
Sure.
Yeah, they have a little blurb for every single one.
And again, I'm going ahead 6 months as I ask you that question, or 5 months.
The narrative on McGuire remains bizarre. McGuire is the first Texas Tech coach to lead the Red Raiders to 3 consecutive conference winning records since the collapse of the Southwest Conference. He's the first coach to post consecutive bowl wins since Mike Leach. The only coaches to reach 3 consecutive bowl games at Texas Tech are Spike Dykes, Leach, and McGuire. Granted, this is the year where McGuire can prove once and for all whether he's among the Big 12's elite. I don't have a problem by any means of him sitting outside of the top 5. I think if you're saying what he's done is the 13th best coach in the conference, seems crazy. And again, this is like coming into the year 2.
If you're the head coach over there and you're posting stuff in the group text, or remember what he said to us last year at media days? I was like, Coach, there used to be a little locker room down there in the game day locker room, had a bulletin board. It's where it would have announcements. Clint Scott, go see Coach Ramsey, if you missed study hall or that kind of stuff, whatever. It was the old school announcements right there on the door into the locker room, the game day locker room. But they would also use that some in practices and whatnot. That's before we had a football facility. It was the everyday. It became the game day locker room more recently. Back in those days, it was the everyday locker room. All right. So, and we asked Coach McGuire, do you still post preseason polls and clip them on the bulletin board? And he laughed. He goes, he laughed at us. He laughed at the question. He said, well, I used to do that. We used to have that kind of bulletin board stuff, but now it's in our group text. And so now what I'm wondering is, does a captain player go, hey, Coach, they're picking us 4th or 5th in the conference. You know what? They're picking you as the 13th best. We've all got something to play for, right? I mean, because McGuire seems like he'd have fun with that.
Yeah, sure.
Internally, he would have fun. Externally, he's going to go, I'm not worried about that kind of stuff. But internally, if players and coaches were all going, hey, we've all got something to prove, don't you think he'd be like, yeah, I'm in. All right. I think he'd embrace that in a cool kind of way.
I do think that this list will be – I don't have major qualms with it at all, and it's hard to tell because it's a pretty even field right now. Well, I was say like the Mike Gundy thing is interesting, is because I've seen a lot with this. That's the one that people are overall are the angriest about. He's been at Oklahoma State forever. He's done all these great things, and I'm not arguing that. But then you had a guy in this era does not suit Gundy, and he said it out loud. We haven't been leaning in the NIL. He said it at Big 12 Media Days. Well, this is the first time we're really paying play. Like, why would you say that out loud? It's so
Right.
to have almost like malpractice. It's like, yeah, you deserved last season.
Yeah, it's just easy. It's just sort of easy to see that, not that he still can't coach or whatever,
Sure.
but just operating in this new environment that he may be going, you know what, I'm going to go to the lake.
So maybe we'll feel differently again if he bounces back and in a couple of years is still there and turns it right back
Absolutely.
around. But
Oh, yes.
that's yet to be seen.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Ask Tech Talk is brought to you by Visual Edge IT. Give us your questions on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Also give us your thoughts, comments, whatever you got there. Lumberjack said that Go Raiders clip will never not put a smile on my face.
Yeah, you got that right. That's as good as it gets.
Bobby, yeah.
So good.
Bobby Hot Dog said Brennan's little sausage fingers make Capri Sun difficult.
Help! I need an adult.
Yeah. Tech Talk. What do you think of Tech's receiving core this year? It's good.
Yeah, I
Hopefully it's
think
gonna be
so.
good. I like the mix of
Douglas Aiken, 2 proven vets.
I like the mix of what you just said, 2 proven vets. I really like how Caleb Douglas seems to fit in what Mac Leftwich's is going to be offensive-wise with the vertical choice routes and more RPO. That just seems what he did really well, especially like in the last 6 games. Seems like tailor-made for a guy like him. But I also like that you have, which you can check out every Thursday, Red Raider Recon. Rob and I are getting into the phase where we're going 3-game stretches on the schedule. So, like this week, we'll give you the non-con. We're starting to dip into like your opening 3 games of Big 12 play, Utah, Houston, and Kansas. And with all 3 of those teams, they are dealing with a whole bunch of new. And like Utah, which I think is very interesting for them as they add in Devin Dampier, who, throwing at least, was a little bit of a mess and very volatile and turned over the ball. So you add into that receivers that they're planning on bringing in that really haven't even proven it at the Power 4 level, or even to some extent like a lower level in the group of 5 or whatever you call it. And you have a mix of guys that have now proven it in the Big 12. And then you also have those projection guys like a Reggie Virgil and a Roy Alexander. And then on top of it, you're bringing back a guy who's looking to have like this redemption story arc like Micah Hudson with a bunch of talent. And then you add in guys like our wild cards, like Kelby Valson,
Right.
that you don't really know what you're going to get. And if you get anything out of them, it'll be a bonus, right? And so that's not even to mention, if you just ask about the receiver room, that's not even to mention the running backs being used more in the passing game, and also the tight end group. And with, one of your most athletic players might be Terrence Carter, who you brought in at the tight end spot. So overall, I like that you have a mix of production and also projection.
I totally agree. It feels like there's speed, there's slot shiftiness, all the things. Who's going to be the guy that gets the ball on 3rd and 7? Mm-hmm. Who's that dude that gets target? Who's Mr. Reliable? Micah Hudson's part of this conversation, but he certainly didn't dominate it this year. But I'm interested to see, what that projection will be like, and then other bodies brought in. It just feels like the depth, and hopefully, if inevitably there's going to be guys missing a couple games here and little stretches there. Hopefully, that's what it is. We're not testing depth with camp season-long injuries and the Pine Bluff game and things like that to test depth. But, man. just a bunch of good names. Like you said, I like it. Projection, performance, veteran. Coach
and even
McCaslin.
on some of that production, you can also put into projection, because you could have like Caleb Douglas ended up having a really good year last year, right? Just under 900 yards. You're also projecting him to have maybe 100, 200 more and get into that 1,000-yard territory, a Josh Kelly territory. Different routes and stuff like that. But,
Sure.
So there's a little projection even with your production, if you will.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, there's it'll be fun to watch this thing play out and just see how it works relative to just how it works relative to expectations, and just if we can look back on this season and go, hey, Micah Hudson caught 25 balls this year, not bad. And I'm not just picking on Micah, but of the dudes on down the list, because I remember us saying this time last year. There's only so many touches. There's only so many plays. You can't have 7 receivers light it up. There's not enough snaps. And especially this time last year, we were talking about that. Like, hey, don't forget, Taj Brooks is going to get a lot of carries.
Yeah,
he's going to absorb a bunch of this. And I feel it'll probably be that way this year. There will probably be some balance. We do have a pretty good defensive situation here, so there may be opportunities in which we have leads in games that it's like, hey, let's run some clock and get out of here, fellas, or we'll pound the rock.
Bullfighter had this Tech Talk Pong tournament at Raymar. How many hours of Pong could you play? What all hosts and co-hosts are you beating?
Pong.
Ooh, man.
Mercy.
If it's for a competition, I know I could outlast everybody hour-wise. As far as who would just still be done. Like, no, we're still going. I think Jamie would quit pretty early. I feel good.
Yeah.
I think we'd beat Chuck. I think Choice would get angered eventually into making a mistake.
I mean, the paddle, if you will, it was a dial.
Right.
It was just a dial that you moved it up and down to get your little Pong paddle in the way of the ball.
Whenever we're asked about these competitions, I never put myself in the top 3 of a power ranking. But I would put you, me, and Rob Bro in the top 3 for the favorites.
I don't know if I'm winning a Pong-a-thon. Was it a Pong-a-thon or just a straight tournament? Tournament. Sorry, let me say that right. Was it a straight Pong?
I guess it's just a tournament. Tournament.
Double elimination, maybe. Got a little loser's bracket. We'll find out who wants to grind.
Sure.
It was a Pong game. Didn't last very long, as I recall.
It depends on how good the 2 players are.
Well, that's true. I guess tiebreakers and whatnot. Are we going advanced? Like we're going immediately to the small paddle and fastball?
Yes. We will be back with more Tech Talk tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.
This has been the Tech Talk Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.